Spy podcast, day 70 of the U.S.-Iran war-ish cast. So we will get into that in a short bit, but I want to welcome you all back to the cast. As you can see, I am in my Canadian lair, and I am heading back to the United States after an extended secret mission in England. Some of you will see that on the Black Man Spy podcast. I did a lot of video in some very cool places. But that being said, today is a day of significant activity. I want to get into that relatively quickly. We always wait for about 1,000 people to come on before we start. And so look at that. Thank you. Welcome back to North America. I appreciate it. I was quite surprised how many people were in London didn't call me and say, hey, meet me at the Red Lion down, down next to, down in Whitehall, which is where I was the other day. Let's have a beer, because I had a lot of beers. So that being said, let me introduce you to our co-host, Jacob Kaarsbo, Danish intelligence Middle East officer extraordinaire. Good morning, afternoon for you, Jacob.
Good
3 p.m.
afternoon.
And Wajeeh, the gay lion, reporting in from Minneapolis, Minnesota, our Saudi Arabian native and Gulf states geopolitical analyst extraordinaire, who has a much more impressive collection of Fez hats than I have. Good morning, or very early morning for you, Wajeeh. It's 8 a.m. As you can see, we go across 9 time zones. That's what this show stretches. And we've seen people already in from Germany and Kenya. We also have some people from Australia who are ending their day. So, going to bed, watching us bitch and complain. That must be something. the nightmare fuel. So good morning to both of you. I'm glad to be back. I know it was a little sketchy yesterday with me on a Air Canada flight. I thought that was fun, way I could drop in from time to time and just comment. But I did not know that stewardess was so mean. She was like, you can't do live video streaming. It's like, then why do you sell streaming? That's what it was called, streaming Wi-Fi, for you to do live chats. It says it on the webpage. No, she was mean. Thank God she was replaced by a cute French, cute Canadian French woman. That being said, let's go this morning, gentlemen. I know we always start off with some mild traditions. Wajeeh, I know you drank all your coffee because everything's crazy. What kind of coffee mug are you rocking?
Oh, the coffee mug is in the kitchen by now.
Oh, wallahi, you're failing us. Jacob, what do you have today?
This is really a disastrous mug day because I was thrown off course by a phone call from a company that wanted help on Ukraine. And as I was making it down here, I just grabbed a glass and I left my NSA cup upstairs.
Okay. You got a little water bottle there, and Jacob is drinking straight vodka now. I mean, or gin, could be gin.
Snaps.
If you're drinking schnapps in glasses like that, I have those cute, dainty little schnapps glasses. If you're drinking schnapps glasses out of that, then today's significant activity must be very significant. I have a new coffee mug
like this.
I have a new coffee mug, which I have been dying to show to you, and I didn't want to use it until I was out of the UK. You already saw one other. One of you may be receiving that mug. This is my new coffee cup. Who recognizes the character?
That's from the Play-Doh cartoon. I forgot what it's called, but
Wallace and Gromit, and this is Gromit. See, somebody already got it, Gromit, and somebody already went with his classic line from Wallace. There is a Wallace mug, and this is the Gromit mug. There is even a Gromit teapot, a very large version of this that you pour your little tea out of. So, geez, Gromit. So I love Wallace and Gromit, especially the movie The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. So this is my mug for today because we are dogging it.
No,
No,
that's
we're
good,
1,000.
Malcolm. Now, Wajeeh and I are letting you down on the mug game today.
No. I'm going to
I'll be
help
back
you
in
both.
full force tomorrow.
I'm helping you both out on the mug game. Just keep watching your mailboxes. Okay, we are over 1,000 people. So a little administration before we start. Please go to that little red heart down there and press that 20 or 30 times. And I want you all to put your questions. If you go to Substack chat, you'll see that I opened the chat thread day 70 warish. Post your questions there, and I can read your questions from there. We are checking your questions in this chat, but go to that chat and post your questions and make all your silly comments if you really want. Pressing those hearts, by the way, does actually change the algorithm. It notifies people that this is up, and we are number 10 in world politics podcasts. And Wajeeh is rising. You're like number 4, number 3, number 2, rising in world
A
politics.
few days ago, I was number 1.
Rising.
Oh.
I've learned this lesson about how they trick you with between rising and your actual stat. Because
Yeah.
I was number 30, went from 56 to 39 in US politics. And let me tell you, I went blazing by some people who were real heavy players like Rahm Emanuel and people who were like senior government ministers. So we were being silly. And then once we put world politics on it, we jumped right to number 9, I think, in world politics. So if more people start following us, if you share this with your friends, we will get back to number 9 in world politics. That's all I want to do. But they have this little thing called rising, right? Where you're number 1 rising, which means, you're the fastest growing world politic category. And Wajeeh is number 2, number 1 rising in world politics. Good man.
Yeah. I have
Thank you.
actually passed 10,000 subscribers.
Good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good. All right. That being said, let's get past the silliness. Wajeeh, have we got any changes in casualty count? I only heard yesterday, with the exception of Lebanon, set Lebanon aside, only 4 people were injured in the United Arab Emirates yesterday when
Yeah.
Iran carried out 2 waves of ballistic missile and drone attacks. Several sailors were wounded on a French cargo container ship that was attacked, but I have no people being killed outside of Lebanon.
It is your lucky day because Al Jazeera just updated their death board.
Oh, they did they?
Yeah, they did. So
All right.
I'm going to set you guys up here.
Hit us with it. While you do that, I will bring up some of the significant activities of the day.
Is this clear for you guys, or you want me to come closer?
Well, if you could just read off the casualty count, it's hard to see. Just let us know if there have been any big changes.
No big dramatic changes. Just 2,702 people killed in Lebanon. 8,311 people injured. There's a direct correlation in Lebanon between displacement and people. The people killed and people injured. And the first large number is actually in Iran, 3,468 people killed, and 26,500 and plus people injured. They're still counting their injured. They're still counting their killed. I've seen some reports that indicate that the number of people that are killed could be up to 8,000. And that is the estimate, between 3,400 to 8,000, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, those casualties, those kill numbers came from the United States based on, we hit a building, there should be 50 people in it. I don't believe them. The Iranians have been pretty good at counting the actual individual deaths because, Wajeeh, as you know, in Islam, you have to be buried within how many hours of being discovered?
As soon as possible.
Right. Usually 24 to 48 hours at the max. 24.
No. If you are no. That is if you're a regular death. If you're a shaheed, if you're a martyr, you don't even need to be prepared. You are buried with the blood that you're on, with the clothes that you are with. The belief is that once you are buried with the blood that you're on, it will be, once you're resurrected, that blood will smell like musk on amber. And that is the belief. So you don't wash the body, you bury the body as is as soon as possible. They are already gone to heaven. So as soon as you bury them, the sooner they go to heaven, or the sooner they enjoy their rest place.
That explains a lot of these commentary that I had heard from Al Qaeda about being buried in the blood of your clothes, presenting yourself to Allah and Muhammad as the shaheed in your
Yeah,
shuhida clothing. Okay, great. That being said,
Israel.
let's.
The last important thing is Israel. 26 people killed, but if you notice, they have a large number of people injured. We haven't discussed that number of people injured because
Well,
that's a.
I've been to
You want
Israel,
to talk
and
about
I've
that?
been to Israel when the air raids go off. A lot of people scramble to shelters, and you could hurt yourself going to a shelter, getting a cut, tripping, falling, things like that. But let's go to oil, gentlemen, because that is another major significant activity. Look at the prices of oil drop. Can you come a little more to the right there, Wajeeh, so we can see the change in oil? What is that? WTI crude between yesterday morning and today dropped $6.54. Brent North Sea crude dropped another $6. 61 cents. And Merban dropped to $7. Jesus, that's incredible changes in the oil market. However, I recall someone, if not all of us on this very podcast, saying yesterday morning that oil would collapse by the end of the day because by the end of the day, there would be an announcement that a peace deal was in place. And for the 13th time in a row, this market manipulation is held up. And if I were to write an economic intelligence assessment, I would say, operator comment, yes, this appears to be market manipulation. It happens literally every weekend. Okay. Oof. Wallahi. And of course, you know what that means? People are going to be buying oil like crazy later. And then this peace deal will fall apart and shooting will start and somebody will make a lot of money. That being said, okay, comments on oil real quickly because I want to get to significant activities. Go.
It was
Jacob.
after Trump announced the complete and final agreement.
Well,
Complete and final agreement is
our
coming close.
our people don't know that. Even Gromit doesn't know that yet. So let's go to significant activities. First, I would like to give you a visual representation of Donald Trump trying to execute his strategy to get out of the Middle East. And as you can see, it's been slow going. He's been working on it now for over 3 months. We're going on to three. We're at day 70, by the way, in case you've wondered. We have not, on this podcast, have not stopped counting how many days it's been since the actual combat operation started. And as you can see, this exclusive look at Trump trying to exit the Middle East, taking a little bit of time. So, with that, significant activity of the day, and that is Donald Trump this morning, for like the 400th time, has announced that the war is over, and there's a reason for it because Iran has sent a series of a peace negotiation, and that they have essentially surrendered. I'm going to read it to you now. Here it is. If you can read along with me.
Legendary.
Assuming this happened at 6:41 a.m., assuming Iran agrees to give what has been agreed to, which is perhaps a big assumption. The already legendary Upper
Legendary.
Epic Fury will be at an end, which is funny because I recall Marco Rubio, Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, yesterday saying Epic Fury was finished. Okay, let's give him some leeway. Maybe he didn't get the note. And the highly effective blockade will allow the Hormuz Strait to be open to all. Okay, when's the last time we heard that? Wasn't it last Monday? Last Tuesday? Literally every.
That was
Anyway,
literally 2 days ago.
so the Strait of Hormuz to be open to all, including Iran. Like you're cutting Iran a favor, right?
Yeah.
If they don't agree, the bombing starts, and it will be, sadly, at a much higher level and intensity than it was before. Thank you to your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
But
Okay, gentlemen,
he's downgraded.
how do you wait? Stop. How do you declare the end to the war and in the same sentence say we can go and bomb you if you don't accept the end to the war?
But he has downgraded it.
All
Now he's
timers.
not wiping Iran off the face of the earth anymore, at least.
That was yesterday.
That was
Don't make jokes like that while I'm drinking. Okay.
You know, these are actual signs of someone with Alzheimer's, guys. Like seriously. The guy in the morning goes, we're not at a war. And then at night when he's talking to his supporters, when we are at war, we are at war right now, destroying Iran. We have taken out all their infrastructure. And the same day in the morning, he was like, no, we don't have war. We are at peace right now.
Too much peace. Too much peace. Khalas. Peace everywhere. And okay, the reason that I'm doing a quick search, I want to go over that what apparently has happened. I would like to go a step back to this time yesterday morning. At the time we started this podcast yesterday morning, 9 a.m., or it was 2 p.m. for me on an airplane, thinking we would have a day off because Trump had already announced a 48-hour pause, 24 to 48-hour pause of Operation, whatever it was, Project Freedom, a humanitarian mission that was being executed with jets and bombs and helicopters.
15,000 soldiers, even 15,000.
Yeah, 12,000 were on two ships, right?
15,000.
Anyway, yesterday morning at 8 a.m., Pete Hegseth announced that Operation or Project Freedom was well underway, and the U.S. military was confronting Iranian attacks. And Iran had, in fact, launched cruise missiles and drones at 4 tanker ships over the 12-hour period after this was announced by Donald Trump, including one which was hit by cruise missiles hours after Pete Hegseth made his statement. But what happened was the United States Navy working with five ships, just five, that were part of the U.S. Maritime Task Group, that is merchant marine ships that have a contract with the Department of Defense. 5 of them were trapped in the Gulf, including ships with Merchant Marine Academy sailor cadets on them. And 2 of those 5 ships ran out through what we're calling the Southern Traffic Separation Scheme. That's the TSS. There it is. Thank you, Jacob. That's very close to the Musandam Peninsula. Very shallow, has rocks and shoals. It's not as shallow as the rest of the PG, right? It's 65, 70 meters deep, and that's pretty good. For container ships, it's sort of dicey. For oil tankers, it's really dicey. So what happened was these container ships and merchant ships, 2 of them that were U.S. flagged, came out. And at that point, it was already 9:30. We had been talking about it on this program. By 10 o'clock, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State / National Security Advisor, came out and announced that the war was over. and that Project Freedom was the next phase of a defensive campaign against Iran, but it was a humanitarian mission, and you should stop thinking about Operation Epic Fury because that's done, right? Now, I was at 33,000 feet when he made that statement, and I wasn't as high as the statement that he made because within 2 hours, Donald Trump made a statement announcing the end to Operation or Project Freedom. 5 hours difference, right? Two ships. And then they started hawking over how great it was. They sank 7 Iranian patrol craft. They were fired upon by ships and anti-ship missiles. They braved the minefields that we know weren't there because the Iranians told everybody where they were. And they got 2 out of the estimated 800 ships out of the Persian Gulf. Now,
Mashallah, tabarakallah. So strong, so strong.
if this were the intelligence watch briefing and everybody in the watch section was reading this, that's where everyone would fall over laughing, right? If they were like, thank God, USA, right? We got 2 of them bad boys out. And the problem is Trump expected it and was probably promised by Pete Hegseth that those ships coming out under the umbrella of 2 U.S. warships, I think it's the Mason and the Thayer, the Truxton and the Mason. My niece was assigned to the USS Mason when they were off Yemen and got like blasted by drones and missiles every day. But those ships would, by opening up and letting those 2 ships go through the Southern Traffic Separation Scheme, would be like a cork being pulled out of a champagne bottle, and that all the other ships would be spurting all over. This is too graphic. They're spurting all over the Southern Persian Gulf Traffic Separation Scheme and would just be flooding out in long white hoses. This is just too nautical. I was going to say long white streams of semen. No, ships going out in a conga line of vessels, freeing 20,000 trapped seamen who were on their vessels. Unfortunately, their insurance companies had something to say about this, which was, don't even fucking think about it, right? So apparently, hold on. Apparently, at the end of the day, after Donald Trump announced an end, or as he called it, a pause to a Project Freedom, which was 5 hours old, and that the Persian Gulf was now having cruise missiles and ships being burning everywhere, right? 4 ships had been struck by the Iranians. 7 Iranian small boats had been sunk. It appears that 7 other ships may have small, lighter vessels, not major ships, went and used the UK Maritime Trade Office navigation points to get out also. But then again, we've seen a lot of ships going in that way and coming out. So that wasn't anything new. Most ships are going out by the Iranian multi-pass traffic separation scheme, which is a guarantee that you're getting out and you're getting in. The only problem is nobody's coming in. And nobody's getting out because now shooting is going on. Okay,
Yeah,
that was
Iran
yesterday. That was yesterday. There massive confusion between Hegseth, Rubio, and then Trump just killed it all. What do you guys say about that? Because that leads us to this morning's taco.
Yeah, but imagine how irresponsible it is to have these 2 ships following just at the tail of 2 U.S. Navy destroyers exit, and then you have the U.S. Navy sending out a message to everyone that they should follow that scheme. That is completely irresponsible.
Well, funny you should mention it.
Because they did that yesterday, and that is absurd.
Funny you should mention it, because once the U.S. Navy warships departed at the end of that operation, one French container ship called the CMA CGN San Antonio took the Southern Traffic Separation Scheme. And
Yeah.
before it ever got to the area north of Kasab, it ate a cruise missile, injuring several sailors on board, Filipino sailors on board. The ship's fire was put out and under control. The vessel is still on power, but it was going through the traffic separation scheme that we told everybody to use. And I'm sure the Iranians are like, hey, let those U.S. warships get out of the way. And the first motherfucker to come through, we gonna fire it up. And that's exactly what they did. They lit that ship up. Now, and that was a 2,000 container vessel. It is a large vessel. I'll show you a picture of it shortly. But then, halas, by noon, Donald Trump is getting news that Pakistan is going, no, we're close to a deal. Turn off everything, Donald. What do you say to that?
The final and complete agreement, as the Donald put it in his post. The final and complete agreement. Wajeeh, are you in a meltdown?
And to add more water to the mud, the Iranian government came out contradicting another statement that another part of the Iranian government then said, that they're like, who told you that we hit Al Fujairah? We never touched Al Fujairah.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. We're gonna go over that too. That's crazy. Just too much nuttiness. While, by the way, Donald Trump was apparently reading some agreement that he had heard about and getting ready to kill Operation whatever Project Freedom.
It's
This
not an
occurred.
operation. It's not an operation. It's a project.
This
Strictly
occurred
defensive.
while we were sleeping. The United Arab Emirates was struck with 2 waves of attacks, ballistic missiles, cruise missile attacks, and loitering munitions that they shot down that were literally just pulling orbits, looking for an opportune time to fall and blow things up. The Emiratis apparently thwarted that attack, which may have been over 2 separate waves, like the war wasn't finished. And we saw that the Wajeeh report had been hit the day before, or the hours before, and those strikes continued until the Emirates stopped them. Now, that being said, let me see. Iran strikes 4 container ships. So by noon, I want to put out the sequence for you: humanitarian mission, war. It's not war, war's over. And then by noon, we had a full-scale taco, right? Trump always chickens out. And then nobody was believing it, so we got a nacho. Wajeeh, what does nacho stand for?
Never opened the Hormuz or something like that. Let me look it up.
Not a chance.
Not a
Hormuz
chance
opens.
Hormuz opens.
With plenty of cheese. With plenty of cheese on top.
With cheese on top. And then, while it was not opening, Trump came out this morning and with his statement on the negotiations does another taco. He does, and now the market's moving in the direction that he wants. Oil is plummeting. Everyone thinks that this is over. No one believed Marco Rubio, by the way, when he said it was over. They were like, I better see Trump's tweet or it ain't real. Okay, so here is the actual container ship that was struck, the CGM CMA San Antonio. As you can see, you hit that thing, you're destroying a lot of toys. a lot of items that are being shipped out of the Gulf. I can't get my Land Rovers onto a container, right? It'll be a year before container movements go back to normal. And I would hate for it to be sitting there and some dumbass statement Donald Trump says destroys $100,000 worth of Land Rovers. Yeah, and when those ships when they're abandoned or things like that, they're free to salvage, right? So I'll be seeing some Somali pirate driving around in my 6-wheel Land Rover Defender. I'd be mad.
You sure it won't be another American Navy guy that will take them, because Trump has accepted that the U.S. Navy is doing piracy.
It won't be Americans, because let's go over the negotiations as it apparently has been reported by Axios. Let's see, agreement. So what Axios reported, Barack Ravid, of course, who is the mouthpiece of the White House, reported that the framework for this agreement was set on 14 points that the United States and Iran said they will put into a memorandum of understanding, which will be, can I point out something? The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action was 156 pages. This operation will be a single page and not even multiple paragraphs. And apparently, this document will spell out the actual end to the war. It will say we are terminating hostilities between the United States and Iran. Okay? Other items on there. Now, this is where things get sketchy, because what Donald Trump says, I saw his statement on this yesterday. He said, in a room full of kids, by the way, he said, Iran calls me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Really? Iran calls me all the time, and they go, Donald, we're desperate for a deal. Give us a deal, Donald. And Donald says, no, I'm not going to give you a deal until you give up your nuclear. And then he says they hang up from the phone call ready to make a deal. And then they come on television and they lie. They lie and say, we never talked to Donald Trump.
You have to do the Iranian. You have to do the Iranian accent, right?
Okay, my problem. No, I'm not going to do an Iranian accent. You know why? Because the guys who are calling are calling and saying like this, Donald, we are wanting deal. You make deal, Donald. You must, because it's the Pakistanis. It's the Pakistanis. And I'm sorry, he's so openly racist. I really do believe he cannot differentiate between the Pakistanis on the phone and Iran. And that his negotiators, he might actually be on the phone with President Pervez Musharraf and thinking it's Mujtaba Khamenei. I shit you not. Tell me that's not possible.
Listen,
psychology. Oh, wait. Somebody go get me the psychological profiler. Come back to me and tell me if that's not possible. And the poor profiler would come up, he'd go, well, normally I do foreign leaders. But you're asking for an assessment of the commander. Wajeeh, somebody help me out with this. So, can I point out one last thing? This is exactly what he said 2.5 months ago when he came and he said, Iran called me and said, Donald, Halas, you're such a good guy. We are going to give you a big gift. Big gift. This gift is very valuable, and it comes from the oil industry. Then he came out and said it was 8 oil tankers of oil, which, by the way, would total $2.5 billion of oil, which would be the most phenomenal bribe in the history of bribes. And then came out and said, they like me so much, they said 10 tankers of oil.
he doesn't go Habibi Donald. He go Baba Donald.
I
Let
came
me
to
tell you,
Khan
you
Halili.
are so strong.
I have
You,
negotiated for souvenirs. Okay? Don't tell me this is Iran, it's Pakistan, and you believe every lie that comes out of someone's mouth or he magnifies an actual small statement and turns it into a strategic agreement that is between point A and B. And we know there's very little in between A and B. So now we're supposedly at peace. Waja, Anta Hajia. You're not a Haji.
لا
Anta Haji.
معتبر معتبر.
Muhaji. Okay. But Waja, okay, Ibn Jihad, I want you to tell me what Iran has said about this. Have they said anything about this morning?
They basically said that. Hold on, I posted something about it. Let me go back.
Yeah, let's go to that because I have a sneaking feeling since it's 9:38 in the morning, and that statement was made at 6:41. 6:41 would be 3:01 because Iran has that half hour, right? It
Yeah.
would have been 3:01 in the afternoon, and they would have said, "Did somebody call him? No, I didn't call him. You called?
Well,
Okay,
the
apparently war over."
And Wachi, before you read it out, I have the shot. I what they will say is yes, it's no problem. Free navigation in the Strait of Hormuz.
2 million.
Everyone can sail. They just need to send us a message.
Multipass.
Months.
All right.
well,
B
they
Waring
have
made a
church.
great hold on. Our viewer B Waring made a great comment just now. Future historians will have a field day with this madness. You know what? I've always wanted to get my doctorate. And I think now is the time to work on my doctorate. And my doctoral thesis should be on mental illness as geopolitical decision-making mechanism. Right? And I will use a couple of them. King George
Ugh.
III, when he went out of his mind. Idi Amin is another guy, although Idi Amin ended up in Mecca for the rest of his life. He died in Mecca in exile, but he was crazy, right? To a certain extent, he was crazy. And people who just literally, and then Donald Trump, right? And I could do this comparative analysis between crazy ass shit and things that happen in foreign policy. And I'm sorry to say it, Donald Trump has everyone beat.
You've got that doctorate half written already, you know.
Mad King Ludwig at least had the gay king at Neuschwanstein, the castle in Bavaria that was Disneyland Castle, at least had the common decency to kill himself by drowning himself in a lake through despondency for his confused gender role of being a king with a queen and wanting to be a poet. Not this guy. No, not Donald. No. He will just declare everything done. My doctorate is assured. I think I've just done my thesis defense. I just have to get it down with sources. If someone's got a cheesy university that wants to award me a doctorate, I'm ready to start that program. I can pay up. I can get the $100,000. Oh, yeah. What else is in the news, guys?
So you asked a question. The statement that came out from Iran, there were several statements that came out from Iran in the last few hours, and they ignored the United States completely. This is what they said. They are directly talking to the UAE, threatening them, one, and two, they were thanking the maritime ships in the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf and the Arab Gulf. And they were saying, thank you for complying with our orders, for not moving and for staying where you're supposed to stay. That was their message to the ships, basically reasserting their control over the strait, because the United States was like, we'll show you how to go out. And they are just saying that, you ain't going nowhere. And thank you for complying. And that's just another slap to the United States. The other thing is after that, the Iranians issued another statement to the Emiratis. They said if you continue to host, the statement was long; it's a page long. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. They basically said if you continue to hold Western allies, well, your Western allies in the military bases, you can expect us to continue to have you as a target of ours. And you can expect that the rest of your economy would be also a target of ours. Essentially, reasserting that they're not out of the picture. And that is also a message for the rest of the Gulf states. Oman yesterday got hit because they were allowing the United States to not to guide some ships out of the strait. So Oman, someone was asking me, do you think they would get hit? And I originally thought, why would they? But no, I was stupid. No, they got hit, just because they allowed the United States to guide ships through the strait. So yeah, Iran is definitely showing absolute ownership over the strait, and the consistent taco nacho strategy that the Trump uses is only continuing to degrade the United States' ability to have some sort of authority or some sort of, you would call it, honesty, because you continue to lie to yourself before you lie to your enemy. It, we know that there is now a rhythm. There's an equation that they could follow. 1, 2, 3. Trump threatens, back out. One,
Yeah.
2, 3. Trump threatens and then back out. It's just it continues to happen. So the Iranians at this point, they're like, okay, why should we change anything? Like, even if our people are hungry, they can shut the fuck up. This is jihad time, and we're about to do what the hell we're about to do. And once this war is over, everyone can live happily over again, and we have more money to rebuild the country. So, like,
The mad this is the madness of King Donald. Okay, that being said, guys, I do apologize. Someone said Tiger Tiger Lily really had a comment that said, "Long white streams of semen, really, Malcolm." Uh, yes, but it's true because the ships, there's 20,000 of them. I'm quoting the White House, right? Their mission, the White House
See,
actually
men.
they literally said the mission was to free the semen from the person.
See, men.
This is not me. This is not
see,
me.
man.
Oh my God. Okay, first off,
Sailors.
for everyone who watches this podcast, this is literally what every decent intelligence morning briefing has been like. We usually end up
Yeah.
on the floor laughing at the jokes that are being made in there. Top secret, right? If you don't have the
Yeah.
cipher lock to get in this room, you're not going to hear these jokes. So this is exactly what it's like. Oh my God! Now they're starting with the epic fury ejaculation joke. So
I mean, men of
I'm
the
not the
sea.
one. I'm not the one who listens to the village people all the time. Okay, that would be the president of the United States. That being said, oh, by the way, someone here said, apparently this is a component of the spectacular penetrations that Iran did yesterday.
It is a clear component.
Thank you, Jacob Kaarsbo, for giving us the phrase spectacular penetrations as an intelligence briefing point. I appreciate that. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to questions. there's very little more to do here. Some of the other points, I did want to touch on this. Some of the other points that came up where Trump said, apparently, according to Axios, that Iran would also, right, give up for the time being its ability, it would give up for the time being enriching uranium until a
Moratorium.
future point. And I was on Times Radio this morning, Times of London, and I said this very clearly. I said, that is a very smart phrase because Trump will say, I have ended the Iranian bomb program. And the Iranians mean it will take us a year or two to dig out all those centrifuges. And once those centrifuges are dug out, then we'll go back to enriching uranium, right? That could be 3 years. But they didn't say cease the enrichment of uranium at all levels. The agreement point was they would end the enrichment of uranium until a future date. And if all the centrifuges are damaged and have to be repaired, yeah, I would agree to that.
Yeah.
Okay. When they're fixed, we're going to start enriching uranium. That's the ... That's on the bottom of that story. Absolute madness. And Trump is like, yeah, we're going to win. You're not winning, right? You're not winning when Iran...
Complete agreement, complete and final agreement.
Complete and final agreement. I got to tell you.
Malcolm, you're not the patriot. How dare you say this about your president?
Apparently, if I don't agree to all this, I'm a traitor. So, that being said, let me... here it is. Here's some of the questions that were asked. Oh, wait, hold on. I have to ask my assistant. Can you find that again? Okay, I'm going to go to the chat and I'm going to start reading some of your questions. And
not about semen. There are plenty of questions about semen.
No, the humanitarian semen mission has been called off for the meantime. Okay. Michael Grobel says Taco Tuesday happened on Cinco de Mayo. So, Cesar says, is Iran accepting these new terms? I have not seen a definitive statement yet, but Trump has it in his head, and oil prices are clearly following that. And when they back out oil prices, some shooting will start. You never know. Let's hope it happens. I personally would like to take a 2-day vacation from the Warcast and transition to the, do you call this Peacecast? So we shall see.
We hope so.
Just one point, Malcolm. For any progress to be made on the deal, the blockade of Iran needs to be out, and for Iran to compromise on the control of the Strait of Hormuz, there needs to be war reparations and sanctions.
I understand one of the points is the United States will give total sanctions release on all oil, all previous sanctions, and they will repatriate the $20+ billion. And the Iranians are shaking down the Gulf states for some money. It'll probably be $40 billion at the end of this.
Yeah.
For comments. Let's go. Kathy says,
mark my word. I don't like to say this, but my estimation, this war would at least be another 6 months.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a different war or Operation Epic Fury Part Podshed. It could be peace. You don't know. It could be complete and total peace. And you're just not giving peace a chance. Okay, let's go to the next question.
I know the Middle East too well.
Kathy says, I'm just hearing on my news the Mason and the Truxton took fire yesterday, no injuries. They say, what did you hear? I heard the Iranians fired missiles in the Persian Gulf. The first two apparently hit a a container ship very early on in the mission. But, they need to say that so they can get their combat action ribbons. They had to have returned fire to get combat action ribbons, by the way. I know, I have 2 of them. No injuries, they say. What do you hear? Well, what you've heard is what we've heard, but the fighting is over. The mission is over. Project Freedom. I keep calling it Operation. Project Freedom, the humanitarian mission to free seamen in the Persian Gulf, is ended or paused for now, right?
Oh,
Just having a cigarette. Okay, a question from the UK by Christine O'Donoghue. Will this horrific episode of history be truthfully written and told to future generations to ensure it never happens again? Look, 36% of the United States, 38% of the United States love and adore Donald Trump. So you can be sure that we have a 1 in 3 chance of stupid people believing everything that was written by historians, including the guy who's going to go get a PhD out of this, is an absolute lie. Okay? These people, I say this empirically, we have one of the stupidest populations, educated populations on the planet. And MAGA is a good example of people who refuse to believe facts as they exist. And they will tell you that themselves. You don't have to believe it from me.
Someone in the comments is saying they should have Obama negotiate. Even when Obama was doing the negotiation with some of the most advanced people and smartest people in the United States sitting on the table, it took us 9 months to negotiate with the Iranians.
Right.
9 months.
Don't forget
yeah.
this. Don't forget this. Trump is going to China next week. He needs this done. He desperately needs this done. He isn't going to go to Beijing and look weak. He is going to lie, and he's going to say he won an astounding victory and that he crushed Iran. And China, Xi Jinping will sit there and will shake his head going, man, this man believes every word out of his own mouth. Kim Jong-un actually has a greater grasp on reality. And here's what the Chinese are going to do. They're going to exploit the hell out of this. They're going to go, there's at least $100 billion of free ass oil we're going to get from Iran for what we're going to do. We're going to help rebuild all of their air defenses going underground. We're going to sell them our most advanced systems. The Chinese will take over. We'll sell them new Navy ships. China builds 54 Navy ships a year to the United States, 2 to 3. And they're going to sell this stuff. And he's going to smile and he's going to give Trump, and you know what he's going to do? I'm telling you straight up. He's going to get one of those massive army parades where each formation isn't 100 guys. Each formation is 5,000 guys and marching in lockstep with chicks in skirts. And he is going to blow Trump away in giving him the belief that China has this military might. And Trump will believe it. Billy Pilgrim Johnson says, what about the war games in the Philippines? Imagine how that would play out with these insane clowns in charge. I got some news for you. The insane clowns are in charge. It's just that the military is competent. The decision for going to war is incompetent. And the leadership is incompetent. And the Chinese know, all right? Their generals are scholars. And I'm not saying this because China is, some third world country. Somebody said this statement last week. China is not a near peer adversary anymore. They are a peer adversary, and there are only 2 on the planet, United States and China. Russia is no longer a near peer adversary. All Russia has is atomic bombs. They don't even have an army anymore. China is our adversary now, the only one that could take us on and win. Okay. Um, some guy, Silent Trading Room says, thank you, Malcolm, for all of your analysis. I watch from Kenya. I love Kenya. I hope you're in Nairobi. And get in touch with me because my favorite Land Rover shop in the world, Schumann Land Rover, is in Nairobi. And those guys can take a broken down 1984 Defender 110 and turn it into a $100,000 safari vehicle that you will all lust after. Anyway, he says, you remind me so much of my late dad. He must have been a Navy chief or sergeant major. Has Trump and his team given up because yesterday Epic Fury was over and earlier today Project Freedom is paused. Yeah, they've pretty much given up because they need to go to China with what I swear to God, he will have a victory parade over this. Trump will swear this is a big parade. And there was a poll on CNN. It wasn't by CNN, it was done by Harvard that said 71% of Americans view the Iran war as a victory, even though 69% view it, say we should never have fought it. And the analysis by Harry Enton was this is Trump's off ramp. The problem is when people start looking into the agreement when this is over, they're going to say, no, that wasn't a victory. What type of security clearance does a presidential candidate undergo? That's from Janelle. None. Zero. The vote of the American people is considered clearance, even if you're mentally ill. It's nuts, but it's true. Per CNN, are you here? Did you hear that a group of Democrats are asking Trump to demand that Israel reveal what
Just a
types of...
comment, Malcolm, just one second.
Yes, sir.
Donald Trump, 100% sure couldn't get a clearance in another NATO country.
No, he couldn't get a clearance in the United States. I did a movie called Unfit. And at the beginning of that movie, I went over the U.S. Air Force requirement program to get a security clearance for U.S. Air Force gate guards on bases that have atomic bombs. It's called the Personnel Reliability Program. I've been through it. I have been cleared 5 times to keep my top secret SCI beyond access clearance. Trump gets it just by being elected. That's it. No clearance process. The thing he did was he extended that to everybody in the White House. So there are people until his first administration, I have never heard the term unclearable. That means that you are a criminal, you're a rapist, you're a murderer. You've done something that would automatically, instantaneously exclude you. He had 21 unclearable people in his White House. Never heard that phrase before. Never heard it. You know why? Because I was clearable.
Have the security clearance.
What's that?
They have the security clearance.
They just gave it to him. Trump says you can have it.
Exactly.
Alas, Commander-in-Chief cleared you. 21. You know why I never heard the phrase over 40 years? Because no one would ever get beyond the initial paperwork and they would just kick your ass to the curb. Therefore, cleared people would never hear the phrase unclearable. And that's
this is the type of shit that you'd expect in like the Middle East to happen. Yes. You don't expect this to happen in the United States, but like you keep getting surprised. The first Trump administration, he tried to do that and he faced some resistance. But in this administration, he made sure that everyone around him is a yes person, whether it's in the DOJ, whether it is, and now he wants to do that with the feds. And what I mean by the feds is not your FBI. It's the banking system that you have here. The banking system in the United States is run by a group of banks that are in 7 or 8 districts around the United States, and they elect people from the banks that exist around them, and these people come out, and the United States president every once in a while chooses the head of the Federal Reserve. And that guy is supposed to be absolutely independent from any political intervention. That's why it's a few year appointment, and then you don't get elected again. It's a one-time appointment of a few years. Mm-hmm. And then, but no one can take you out unless you've done something horrendous.
What?
The Trump administration, sorry.
You and your goddamn common sense. Why do you keep introducing that here? We're talking about Trump. You're talking about a process that works.
That's like Burundi. That's like Burundi.
But like we're talking about how Trump, like I'm talking about how Trump dismantled that whole
Oh, he
system.
dismantled that. Yeah. Yeah. I would like to go
It's
back
like
to that,
Burundi.
please. I would love to
Sorry,
go back to
sorry,
that.
sorry, sorry. I didn't mean to.
I would like to go. You just make me cry out of nostalgia. Right? Listen, next question. Urban Hermit, who is always asking good questions, says Zev Shalev and Dean Blundell reported on yesterday's 5-stack Substack an email from a crew member aboard one of the two destroyers that fought their way in and out of the Strait of Hormuz, who said it was harrowing, near continuous Iranian attacks. Do you have similar intelligence? Yes. I have done that. I've been through the Strait of the Hormuz at battle stations. I have fought missile battles with the Iranians. These ships were very far away from the actual attacks. I just think that they were tracking, monitoring it, and you stay at battle stations, right? And it is harrowing when you hear vampire, vampire, vampire. That's our code word for cruise missile. But the vampires were going at the tankers that the Iranians were attacking, small boats coming out, U.S. aircraft going out and shooting shit. But when you're sitting in the middle of it, and all you got at the end of the day is a bag of battle burgers, which is our meals for when you go into combat. It's 2 hamburgers, 2 ketchup packets, 2 mustard packets, 1 bag of potato chips, and 1 can of Coca-Cola. That's a battle pack. Right? They cook it live. They cook it before the battle and they hand it to everybody. That's it. It's nerve-wracking and it's harrowing. But you got something to tell your grandkids about. All I keep getting these comments is Trump is a big liar. Trump's a big liar. Is it time for JD Vance to do what? JD Vance isn't going to go anywhere unless he signs an agreement. If this is a real agreement, back me up, guys. Trump is going to want to sign it himself, and he's going to want it brought to him in the White House or Mar-a-Lago, which technically is the White House. But he ain't going to let JD have this.
No, no. His numbers are so tanking that he will take any opportunity to be in person to sign something like that, to say, see, we are victors. I am here doing it myself. And I think China trying to negotiate this out is might 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 be a little bit more interesting. I don't see it coming up with a solution, but China has a lot more pressure over the United States than Pakistan does.
Mm-hmm.
And go for it.
All right. I just want to get, because we're going long today. And I have Stephanie Miller on Stephanie Miller radio broadcast Sirius XM in 25 minutes. Shishi Momberg says Trump looked really bad in the Oval Office yesterday, both mentally and physically. I think whoever's controlling things flipped the switch. Hallelujah for our troops. And that goes in line with a comment from Steve Malenga, who says, Malcolm, I dealt with my father-in-law. He was a real dad to me while his dementia grew worse. He spent his last year and a half with my wife and I. Wajeeh is right. What's happening with Trump is what's happening with my dad. He would be up during the night saying and doing inappropriate things like Truth Social, right? During the day, he was better, but not totally. If someone cared about him, they would remove him from office and get him real care. The last 2 weeks were the worst. He became unable to communicate with us. I was happy and sad when he passed on. Wajeeh?
Yeah. I have been studying behaviors for very long as part of how we survive in the Arab world. You have to understand how people act and behave. And we get taught on very early to pay attention to elders when they start acting in a certain manner, because you need, as a child or as a young adult, as soon as you recognize that in a culture that really respects elders and holds them at a very higher place, we get taught on very, very well to how to catch these behaviors. And that is a very easily a behavior that someone does with Alzheimer's. That's why I recognize that right away. Like I'm being serious. This is not the regular behavior.
Hmm. Okay, next question. We have to go back to a previous question because Teresa Silva chastised me properly. Please go back to my question about Democrats and the Israeli nuclear weapons reveal. The Democrats are asking the White House to come out with it, say what has been a secret since I was a baby spook, where we talked about Israel having a nuclear arsenal. It has never been confirmed. And the Democrats want the White House to come right out with it and say, what is U.S. intelligence's estimation of Israel's nuclear weapons program, which we would know since we helped them manage it and give them safeguards and work with them. So that's an interesting point. Jacob, what do you think?
Well, I think they'll say, well, it's national security, and nothing will come off it.
Yeah, well, Trump, but the fact that the Democrats came out and asked, there's a couple of Democrats,
Yeah, okay,
right? They're putting them on the spot. And that spot is, this country's a nuclear power. You're telling Iran, you want them armed, and we don't. Nobody wants Iran to have an atomic bomb. All right.
No.
I don't think that they would be. I mean, even North Korea at this point could go crazy and use their atomic bombs. But, Israel comes from a position of being the sole nuclear power in the theater.
Yeah.
And they could threaten people with that. Now, Trump did all the threatening, but, you don't want to get into a situation where one country starts dictating on the basis of, we will vaporize your city of 10 million people. Although
Saudi government.
It goes into that whole thing of Israel losing support in the U.S. That they used to have because of what Netanyahu is doing, and aligning with Trump, and doing what he's doing in Gaza and the West Bank and Lebanon and Syria, etc. So yeah, that's why we see it.
Mm-hmm.
The Saudi, and by the way, your social media is right behind you. The TV's on. I'm letting you know, Malcolm.
Which TV? This.
The TV. Yeah, your social media.
I'm putting
your
this
screen.
picture up real quick because this is Kaarsbo Island, and there is a satellite image that has just been released that shows there's an oil slick. These are oil slicks at Kaarsbo Island. And somebody believes that a pipe might have been struck by a vessel or deliberately damaged. So that oil slick off Kaarsbo Island is not normal. Okay, that's it. We've done 1 hour, 10 minutes. Thank you all for coming. Today's only going to get crazier because you all know it gets crazy the minute we shut down this program. Don't doom scroll it. We will get it all together for you. If you are watching this on YouTube, it's already over. Please come over to malcolmnance.substack.com, jacobkaarsbo.substack.com, Wajeeh substack.com, and come join this program live. If you can't, subscribe. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. I have 175,000 followers, trying to get to 250. On Substack, if you are not following, press that little gray rondelle up there, and up will pop the subscription box at the bottom. It's free. Don't pay us anything. If you just want to be a general subscriber and watch this podcast, great. If you want to get involved in the community and chat and ask your questions and see our subscriber only, it's only $7 a month, $70 a year. Just subscribe to that, and I would be grateful. This is our shtick. So with that, thank you, gentlemen, for holding me up yesterday while I was on the airplane. As you can see, I've got great Wi-Fi now, and I will see you tomorrow. Or if a crisis breaks out, then we will come back in an emergency podcast like we did 2 days ago.
Awesome.
All right.
See you.
Okay, farewell from Gromit, and I will see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.